hate this bit. Right, and we are live. So, good evening, guys.
Good evening.
Howdy.
Evening watchers, if you're out there.
There was somebody that was in waiting. They clicked the notification bell. So I've figured out how to set it up now so that you can get as kind of a premiere that you can click a notification and they'll get an email or a text that let them know it's just starting. So,
Excellent.
I'm really happy with the cryptid one, though.
Yeah, that was good.
Really happy. 73 views. In fairness, I have watched it myself a couple of times. Whereas on my computer, it doesn't count as a view, luckily. But yeah, I was really happy with it. And I really enjoyed last one. So, and as Ian's been moaning at us all week to get this one done, doing UFOs this week.
I can't believe you like this subject so much.
Having said that, I've come across a few that have taken me interest. A lot down your neck of the wood.
All right. Okay. Yeah. I've got two that have kind of interested me. One of them was live during a Channel 4 news report.
Yeah. So, well, there's several fairly famous ones. Like I say, there's two down near you, Rendlesham Forest.
Right.
Yes, I've been there multiple times. Yeah.
Yeah.
Me and the ex take the dogs for a walk over there.
Yeah. You've also got Lakenheath Bentwaters. I worked at Lakenheath. My first job when I left college, when I started work, was at RF Lakenheath.
So I will say I got my cat that escaped. He'd been gone nearly 5 weeks. I managed to catch him again last night. He came up. I've been putting food out for him. He came up. I managed to get him in. At the moment, he's quite on edge, so you might hear some fighting between the two cats in the background.
Unusual. Anyone who's got more than one cat and says that their cats get on is a liar. Cats hate each other.
Today, actually, I'm surprised because he was always funny with my dog Bella. Yet today, 3 or 4 times, he's actually laid next to her with his head on her. And he's never ever done that before. But his brother's trying to sniff him to make sure it's the right cat and all that. Yeah. And he's really not liking it. But for a house cat that's been a house cat since a kitten, he's got very little amount of damage on him, luckily. He's just, unfortunately, skin and bone. So I'm having to feed him up.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I will say for those that watch this, before we get on, thank you for all the views. I think we ended up with about 74 views on cryptids.
Yep.
So I'm considering the first one was only 31. The one me and Joe did, I think only had about 14. So we're creeping up there, guys. So
we're getting there.
And it's a blast as well. It's a laugh.
Yeah. Well, that's the main thing, isn't it? That's why we're
as you love the topic so much, I wonder if we'll go over the 3-hour mark this week, Ian.
No. 3-minute mark, maybe.
No. There's a light in the sky. That's it. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. There's bloody millions of them.
If my laptop don't start being silly, I did share this one with you in... Oh, I have saved it, yep. I did share this one with you in PM, which is this one.
Right.
1910, just outside of Paris during the Grand Prix. Over in the top right-hand corner, as you can see, there's an almost triangular-shaped aircraft.
Oh, you don't mean the duck?
No, not the duck, no. Just slightly left of the duck.
Yes.
But that is allegedly one of the earliest photographs of... Oh, apologies, that's kids saying goodnight to me. That's allegedly one of the first photographs of a UFO on like a picture.
again, it could be absolutely anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bigfoot could be there. It's so blurry.
Yeah.
I think that's Bigfoot there next to the side of the bushes.
Probably, yeah.
I was going to say, is that not Bigfoot in the side between the bush and the car?
Yeah, I think so.
That's what it looks like. But so that was
Tell you what, it's a better photo than some of Bigfoot photos we see.
yeah. Oh, Christ. I have seen so many bad ones this week. It's unbelievable. There's one that I saw. You could literally see the bit here and see the corner where the string attached and goes round behind the ears. And they try saying it was real.
I like the one with the Bigfoot that had training shoes on.
Yeah, the ones. Yeah.
Yeah.
Supposedly real, chasing the woman
Yes.
on a push bike, and it's got trainers.
Size 7 trainers and that. He only had tiny feet.
Yeah.
Hardly Bigfoot.
Where did he go? High and mighty to buy them, Yeah. No, the Bigfoot situation nowadays is just getting really stupid. It really is. But what are your thoughts on this one? See, now, back then, I'm assuming it would have been like one of the over your head, hold the flash up type jobs to have taken this picture.
Well, yeah.
So that up the top there, that easily, because it's a long exposure, that could easily be a bird flying past.
Yeah, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
And I know aircraft in those days were generally biplane.
Right.
Yeah.
But monoplanes were coming in.
Mm-hmm. Let's get this one off.
And to be fair, looking at that crowd, there's not a single one of them looks to be looking up.
Yeah.
And you think if it was that close,
yeah,
no one would be watching the race, and they'd all be watching that thing.
Yeah. Sorry, my laptop's being silly buggers again. Yeah, I personally, it's interesting, but I personally think because it was a long exposure photo, I reckon it's just a bird flying past.
Right.
Back then, cars weren't overly common back then. Trying to go fast in a car, and back then would have made a lot of noise. A bird roosting, car going round the corner fast, or what was fast for then, it's going to scare a bird. Yeah. So that's what I think. Now, there's one that I did see. If it'll share it. So my laptop is being really, really slow today. But I don't want to pay out 110 quid for a new battery. So, yeah, is that coming up? I've frozen, haven't I?
Not here.
I'm freezing.
Little tiny bits.
Oh, I'm my side. It's brought out the picture I didn't even click on.
UFOs.
It's going to be
aliens.
One of those days, I think.
Aliens in the machine.
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's the alien interference.
They don't want us talking about it.
I didn't even click on that one. No. Well, let me try and... well, I don't like technology.
Right.
That Parliament was misled by the company, and what this...
What?
There. That was during the live Channel 4 news report. Let me see if I play it again.
That Parliament was misled by the company, and what this...
That was quick.
That's a pigeon.
I'm thinking that, but it's the speed.
That Parliament was misled by the company, and what this...
No, that's a pigeon.
Or some other kind of a bird, an osprey
yeah,
or something.
That is not a UFO. Well, it is, because we don't know what it is. Yeah. But it's the only way it's a UFO. It's what sort of bird it is.
Yeah. To me, because you can see like towards the end, there's like almost a white triangle towards the back of it. So pigeon would make sense.
Yeah, you get the
eagle or seagull or something.
Yeah, you get pigeons that drop. They actually drop from height and plummet to the earth and start flapping. So
that's BBC News.
Some sort of pigeon, or I would say I certainly wouldn't say it was an alien craft or anything like that.
Yeah, I think this one, if it will play, was Moldova. When I edited it, because it was too long, I edited it. Unfortunately, I forgot to write down what year it was. That one's kind of interesting. Or apart from the dodgy sound effects that the people put on the background.
But again, you've absolutely no context.
No.
There's nothing to judge scale from.
Yeah, absolutely nothing but sky and this object and a mysterious square.
Yeah. Is it sky? Is it even sky?
Yeah,
I mean,
could it be
in the sky?
Yeah.
If it is sky. It could be some kid with a piece of paper going like that.
Graph paper?
Yeah. Going like that and moving it.
Yeah. Yeah. I did find that kind of interesting, that one. But we'll go into all the ins and outs of like the distances and all that, which are phenomenal. It's mind melting, the distances out in space. But you know, I personally can't see the logic why a alien race would come to Earth. Because if there's another alien race in outer space, so then it'll be us and them, then there's got to be more for a start. So in between where they come from and here, there's going to be a lot more. So why would they choose Earth instead of any of the others?
Maybe they did choose all the others, and they're all in a group. They're doing their thing, and we haven't just come along far enough to have the technology to join them. I mean, who knows?
Well, they reckon we're only about 0.7 on the Kardashev scale, don't they? So, right. They reckon it could be like another couple of hundred years before we even get to 1. And to like that sort of thing, they think, what's it, a 5 or a 6, they think. So, but the fact that they found, there's a lot of studies going into it, that K2b, 1b exoplanet, that they found all the signatures for life on, or a possibility.
Yeah, hundreds of thousands of years
life on there, a water planet.
Yeah,
it takes hundreds of thousands of years for the light to get here for us to see it. So
to get here from there, I looked into it. The light from there to here takes 120,000 years.
Yeah, so 120,000 years ago is what we're seeing here. So what's happened between now and then? You know, if there was life, if that life did its stuff in 120,000 years, maybe they are traveling in space by now.
Who knows? Possible. That's possible.
You know, but that's 120,000 years ago. That light we're seeing now was sent.
Yeah, but to travel there with our modern technology, they reckon it'll take about 2.1 million years.
Of course. Yeah, with what we've got now, even the increasing speeds and the increase, all that stuff that we think can be done. It's like with what we've got now, that's why we're 0.7 on the scale.
Yeah.
We just don't have the capabilities of doing it. There could be life out there. There has to be life in the universe. You know, there has to be. Mathematically, there's no way of saying we're the only ones, unless you're, you know, uber religious and we're the only ones out that were created. Which
no, don't get me started.
I know. That's why I didn't bring up anything, you know, pointed. But
no, that was actually a point I was going to bring up. Sorry, Ian was going to say something, but that was a point I was going to bring up. Was I have noticed over the last few years, a lot of Americans seem to be saying that UFOs are now demonic.
Yeah, that's all over the world, though. I've heard that from different people.
Yeah.
Different groups and different stuff. It's not just the Americans.
No, it's not. And there's a lot of it out there. And again, if you look at certain religions, they are 200-300 years behind us. The West is...
Doesn't the Mahabharata mention about spaceship type vimanas and things?
Well,
the
star
Indian
from the
religions
east
and stuff, yeah.
You look at
There's
the
a lot
star
of
from
stuff
the
about
east. Did they follow a star? Did they follow a spaceship? Although it is allegedly a star that they followed because they can document it through astrology. They even claim to know which star it was, which, well, it wasn't a star, was it? A lot of people believe it was a comet.
Yeah.
Just happened to be going in the right direction.
Yeah. See, now I read something years back when I was a kid that reckons it's gold, frankincense, and myrrh they brought, and one of them is the sap of a tree that only grew in Ethiopia, and to walk from there to where Jesus was supposedly born would have taken 3 years to walk. Well, a meteor or a comet's not going to stay in the sky for 3 years, is it? But
no,
everyone
but
has so many opinions about it.
It's one of those, the trade as it was. We all look at today's world and think, yeah, it's a small world. But trade was going on in those days. There were trade routes across Europe. There was trade routes across the Middle East. The Middle East is the cradle of humanity, if you believe it.
No.
So it was a gift. Didn't necessarily come from Ethiopia or wherever.
Yeah.
At the time, it was just that was a gift they decided to bring.
Yeah. Actually, funny enough, you bringing that up, I shouldn't really do this. It's been naughty, but let me see it, lad. The theory that's out there that Jesus was an ET.
Well, yeah. There's plenty of that.
Yeah. Actually, I'm getting major flare on my glass. I can't see a thing. It's actually...
There's plenty of people out there who believe that Jesus was white.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, if he was Jewish, he would have kind of been white.
He's olive skin, olive complexion.
Yeah, exactly. He certainly isn't.
But the fact he was Middle Eastern, he would have been more tanned or more darker skinned.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, we're not going to go there because I'm trying to be good today. Trying, not succeeding, but I'm trying. But the one that I've known about this for a while, but the one that did catch my attention, if I show the picture, this gentleman. There's a link with UFOs with this gentleman. Do either of you know it?
Nope.
Wasn't he in a UFO movie?
Nope. Do you know this image?
Oh, that's Phoenix, isn't it? Phoenix Lights?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Kurt Russell was in his own private plane, flying back to his son's, I think, 16th birthday party. And he was the first person to report the Phoenix Lights. He was the first person to witness them and radio over that there was something going on. So I found that he done I don't know if Joe know, but he ought to know the TV show on BBC One called The One Show.
Yeah.
Right.
He was on there live a few years back and he openly spoke about it. So I just thought it was quite interesting that somebody famous was one of the first people to report a very famous alleged UFO sighting.
The thing with that, though, and again, it gets me with a lot of these sightings, that, yeah, I'm at a loss as to what it could have been.
Yeah.
Again, you don't really get a great idea of the scale of things, but you get more of an idea of that than you do some of them.
Yeah.
It gives you more of an idea.
Or are they part of one big?
That's all. Yeah, that's over Phoenix.
Yeah. And I had just moved to California about 3 months before that from Virginia. Yeah. And
what's the population of Phoenix?
Oh, huge. It's 40 miles by 40 miles in size.
Well, it's absolutely massive.
Yeah.
And how many people took photos of it?
Yeah. Well, Phoenix and the towns that are attached to it is like that big. It's like going to LA.
Well,
I think the most. I think that image is Dr. Kim Kaitai that took that one. I think, and that's like one of these. They say if it's like a doctor or a soldier or a pilot or something, they say it's more trustworthy than if it was like one of us that had done it. But just because you're a doctor or a police officer or whatever, it don't mean you can't lie.
No, true, it doesn't. Population of Phoenix, Arizona is 1.65 million people.
Yeah, it's big.
It's big.
That's massive, yeah.
And how many photos are there of this incident?
Yeah, I lived there before I moved here, so I've driven those roads much.
Yeah. Was there much talk about it still when you lived there, Joe?
No, not really. Not that I knew. I mean, I was part of a paranormal group, people that we all did paranormal stuff, and I don't ever remember talking about it. So
that's interesting. I thought that would have been a good, interesting topic to.
1997, though, it was quite a while ago.
Yeah, quite a while ago.
It is, but not in the scheme of things. I mean, 97 was. It's not like technology was Stone Age or anything like that.
Oh no.
But like I said, a population of 1.65 million people, you'd think even if a tenth of them, or even 1% of them took a photo of it.
There's a lot of people claiming that they saw it, but as Ian said, where are all the photos?
Yeah. I mean, mobile phones were, cameras were certainly around in them days. The bloody point and squirt cameras were there. So it's not as if it's, I've seen Bigfoot, but I took a photo of him through a jelly.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is why things like UFO sightings don't do anything for me. I've got to be honest.
No, I
mean, things like Rendlesham
and
things like that are slightly different because there's so many people involved and there was so much activity on the night. It's not just there's a fucking dot in the sky over there. I don't know what it is. It's
interesting thing about Rendlesham. Somebody that I worked with, them and several of their neighbours and several other people in the Woodbridge area, because where they lived, you could look up towards Sutton Hoo, because Sutton Hoo is quite high, it looks down. And I've frozen at my end again.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. For a week, people were actually reporting UFO sightings before the Rendlesham incident.
But
so
again, it was right next to an RAF base.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you think of the technology. I mean, you look at stealth bomber. And people, I mean, you think of it. You go over parts of Papua New Guinea or places like that where there's tribes that have never seen a white man.
Yeah, exactly.
You put a drone over there and they'd be worshipping it as a god.
There is I can't think of the name of the tribe, but there was a tribe that during the Second World War, planes would land, leave them food and things so that they could leave ammunition and that on the beaches. And the tribe actually built a replica of the aeroplane out of twigs and sticks and things and worship it as a god. Yeah. So what you're saying there makes perfect sense.
Well, there's fairly famous case, I think it is in the Amazon, of like aircraft going over a tribe. And they'd seen the tribe and they were trying to map where they were and what. And they flew over fairly low and you can see the aircraft is absolutely peppered with arrows.
There was a film in the 80s very loosely based on that. I think it was called The Invisible People.
Yeah.
And a young guy, he finds out that he weren't actually part of the story is he finds out he weren't part of the tribe and he goes into the city to find his dad. But it's loosely based on that situation. Yeah, I very clearly remember that.
It was one of those. They were typical big bloody corporation country. We're going to go in there and fell the trees. We're going to go in there and create industry and all the rest of it. So the indigenous people were having it. And while they were mapping it, like I said, he flew low over. That was it.
Yeah. Now this is another one that's. I think I've got all three images. I think I've got this, and it kind of links with you. Oh, it is all three in one. Kind of links with you, jokes. It's from the U.S. Navy. These images. Right.
I remember seeing this in the research.
The USS Trepang, 1970. I don't know what to make of this one. If UFOs are alien, and like these are big ifs, they are from outer space or whatever, this is probably quite a convincing image.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
at least there's something to look at, like the water below it. You know, you've got. It's hard to see the size based on water, but I mean, there's something there other than just a blue background and a shape.
Yeah, unfortunately, especially like the image on the left, like the bigger image, it's a shame it's been cropped because you've been in the Navy. Apparently, this was taken through a periscope or some sort of thing like that, and I'm assuming it would have had like the markings on it for distance and things.
Right.
So it's a shame it's been edited so they're not in the image.
Yeah.
You might have been able to judge slightly more the size of it. Looking at the lower right image, though, that does look absolutely immense. And I'd say from the nearly 41 years of investigating, that's probably one of the closest images I could say potentially is something.
Yeah, it's certainly intriguing.
Yeah, there is actually a fourth image, but I couldn't find it. But it's
what date's that?
Water, 1970.
1970.
70.
Yeah.
So 53, 54 years ago.
Yeah. But again, going back to what we were saying about technology moving on. You look at the technology we have now compared with even 80 years ago, 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Absolutely leaps and bounds ahead.
Oh, most definitely.
And the technology the Nazis were working on jet aircraft.
Right.
Yes.
In the 40s.
Yeah. Yeah.
They had the Comet 261, was it, at the end of the war?
War, I don't really know. To be honest, I know absolutely nothing about the Second World War.
Yeah, well, they end of the war, they were looking at jet fighters. They had the Comet, which was, but it was an issue. It did have issues. They reckon it could stay in the air for only a few minutes, and it killed more pilots on crash landing than it actually killed. But the technology was earned in the 40s.
Okay.
This is 30 years after that. And the military, you look at what the military, I mean, Christ, stealth bomber.
Yeah.
How long's that been out now that people are aware of it?
SR-71 was the 80s that came out, wasn't it?
Yeah. So you think of that compared with the 1970s?
Yeah.
Where the hell are they now with technology? I mean, there was talk that the Nazis were trying to build a UFO. It was a source of shit. It was a source of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, now, right. I did have an image, but I'm just had a quick look. Unfortunately, I've accidentally deleted it. But of what they called the fly trap, and I've frozen again. But
no.
I think the weather must be getting bad here outside. But the fly trap, the idiots like the Giorgio Tsoukalos and Eric von Daniken and all that say, oh, that's where they tested out the UFO, tested it for hovering. I don't know if one of you can get an image because my laptop's dreadful at the minute.
I'm doing it right now.
No, Joe's doing it first. Brilliant.
Okay, let me look here.
They call it the fly trap. It's a hexagonal type of columns thing.
It should be there in the image thing or on its way.
Let me have a look.
This is a drawing of it, but at least it gives
an idea. That's the image. Right, that's the image of the UFO that they said. But if you actually, can you see if you can find an image of the fly trap itself?
Yeah, I'm just trying to get.
I remember seeing the building. Wasn't that coming out of that round stone building?
Yeah,
this thing would fly up out of or hover in.
There is that one. Yeah, I don't know if you've.
Yeah, just hang on. I'm trying to get.
Yeah, my lap. I think the weather outside here is getting quite bad because my internet seems to be a bit. I don't know actually if it's the internet or if it's my laptop because it's not good. But I don't want to pay out £110 just for a battery on a.
Well, no.
On a laptop, it's not worth it. Considering it's only like a 300 odd quid laptop. Let me see if I'll get the image here.
I've got an image here.
You found it, have you, Ian?
Yeah, just bear with me a second. Right.
I've just found the exact image. I think I've just found the exact image Joe was talking about. So,
right, that should be in the thing.
I thought I was all organised. Never mind.
That should be there first.
Yes. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah. Is that the one you mean, Joe? Right. There's one big. You get a lot of the Ancient Alien team and a lot of other UFO groups and things and that say about that the fly trap, and it was where they tested the hovering on that. The only trouble is that's the structure for a gas tower.
It's not though. You look at these. You look at. working construction, or I did.
Mm.
The structure there's a lot of theories as to what it was for. It certainly wasn't for gas tanks.
I
It
don't
was
know.
not. It is a strange one, and there's a hell of a lot of confliction of views as to what it was for. But I know for certain it wasn't for any sort of tank.
It's a little bit more believable that it's for gas than it is for a UFO to be tested, though.
Oh yeah, I don't disagree.
So,
But I can tell you now, it wasn't gas. It wasn't. There was no tank or anything in that, and it was never designed to hold any sort of tank. Gas
it wouldn't have the strength to do it. I mean, the tank would be pushing down, and the legs would be pushing out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's totally the wrong sort of structure for it.
I don't know. Whatever it is, without a doubt, I don't think it's for a UFO or anything, because you had
I'm not saying it's a UFO, but they were working on source of technology.
Well, there's stories.
It is a known fact that they were working on source of technology.
Well, you've got a lot of stories about the Glocker and things like that from Germany, haven't you? So
yeah, but again, after the war, space technology.
And America did take one of their
America took fucking hundreds of them. America and Russia between them split. A lot of high-ranking Nazis, scientists vanished to America. Russia.
Put another image up there.
Joe's going up. That looks like the Glocker.
Yep.
Now, the Glocker, isn't that what they... I might be getting the stories mixed up. I'm just waiting for it to load. The Glocker, isn't that what they claim... There we go. Claim that landed in Kecksburg. The Kecksburg incident. Luckily, Joe's a quick type of the man. You've both got better quality laptop than I got, so...
Could be, I guess. I'm looking at the image of what they thought they saw.
Yeah, almost like an acorn shape.
Yeah. I'm putting it on my desktop right now.
Purported to be a top secret scientific technological device, wonder weapon developed in 1940 Nazi Germany.
I just put its picture up there.
Yeah.
No, I know. Yeah. And if you look at the Joseph, if we load that up, there we go. Almost identical.
Yeah.
So, but there's so many different stories about that. That the Glocker was a UFO for traveling really fast. It was a time machine, and there's just so many stories.
Anti-gravity.
I think it comes down to what sounds good for the book or for the TV program.
Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, you're hardly going to sell if you write a load of crap, are you?
Like I said last week, I showed you that image. I showed you that image of the Skinwalker.
Yeah.
And all it was a black and white image. They'd taken an image from a film and turned it black and white.
Exactly.
It sounds good. It looks good. But it's not.
But, I mean, you look at that as well. You look at the Nazis in general. You've got they were into the occult.
Yeah.
And the symbolism and everything else.
Well, they did have a occult department, if you can call it that. Didn't they?
I mean, the SS under Himmler.
Was it the Black Sun or something it was called?
I've not heard that one for him, but yeah, the Himmler and
Joe, if you got can.
They were
the Black Sun. Nazi.
Oh yeah.
It was one of those. They basically created their own Camelot type of thing, but even before the war, years before the war, Himmler and Hitler had their scientific teams out looking for the Holy Grail for one.
Yes, yep.
Hence the film. Includes the Nazis. They were all over the world, literally looking for.
I'm glad this video isn't monetized because we've said the word Nazi quite a few times, so I wouldn't get paid. You can't use that word on YouTube anymore if you're monetizing. So, but I'm doing this for fun, not for the money.
Again, it's like a lot of these things. If you deny it, sticking your head in the sand isn't going to.
Yeah.
The world's gone fucking mad.
My boys, as you know, are autistic. We looked into different things, and we did have a look into them having Asperger's. My middle boy Harry, but it's not called Asperger's anymore because the doctor that done it was a Nazi doctor, so they've changed the name. Which, in fairness, he was experimenting on kids, so it's understandable.
Well, yeah,
you know, shouldn't glorify the nastiness that they've done. So, but there's still people out there that are silly enough to believe none of it happened. But
well, yeah, there's an awful lot of people that are in denial. There's an awful lot of people denying that COVID actually happened.
Yeah. It
was all make believe, despite the thousands and thousands who died of it.
Here's the symbol. Can't find much else about it except the symbol.
Yeah, this is literally just like a black circle with almost like black rays coming off it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although, can you share that? I think he said he hadn't heard it. Oh, you have shared it.
Yep.
There we go. Let's share that.
That's the Black Sun.
Now, I tried looking for it, but there is actually a building in Germany that's still got that symbol on the floor. They haven't removed it. I don't know if it's like a protected building or what. But that was the one that, as far as I know, I think that was a part of the SS that was investigating and researching things like UFOs and things like that. I may be wrong. I might be wrong if anyone watches this.
Yeah, it symbolises the source of Aryan racial strength, the cosmic forces supporting their supposed mission.
Yeah.
No, I did.
That symbol.
I was looking for something to watch. I thought slightly different.
It's also known as the crow's head, apparently.
I just brought up a picture of the floor mosaic, if you want to show it. That is in the Obergruppenführersaal, General's Hall at Wewelsburg Castle.
Yeah, and that's where the Nazis held the. Like I said, they built it almost as a Teutonic Camelot.
Castle Wolfenstein, basically.
Yeah. Basically, they were. That's where they did a lot of their occult stuff.
Yeah.
They were the knights. Designated themselves knights and all the rest of it, and all that other weird bloody stuff that they were into.
For this one, to be honest, UFOs. I won't lie. I do occasionally watch clips of ancient aliens on YouTube, but I literally only watch it so I can start swearing at them. To be honest, and calling them idiots. I just do it because it winds me up. But I watched one for a little bit, I was going to use it for here, but a bit of research for here. There's rumours that they had tried looking into the genetics and creating dinosaurs to use in their death machine.
Yeah, I won't put it past them.
So, and the fact they come up with like, what was it like the V2, was it the bomb that they created?
Well, they had the V1, which was a flying bomb, and then the V2, which is the first basically
jet
ballistic intercontinental missile.
Right.
But the only problem with that was it was one they couldn't.
I just noticed your name tag here. Oh, I was looking. It's because I ain't got my glasses on because I'm getting glare off the lights. So I'll put them off, and I've only just literally noticed it.
Oh, it was in keeping.
That's brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, like I said, they were pushing the boundaries.
Yeah.
On a lot of things, medical, scientific.
Wasn't it the V2 that Werner von Braun worked on that led towards the Americans starting to go up into space?
Yes. Yeah.
Also.
Yeah.
It was one of those. They were. That's what I said. A hell of a lot of high-ranking Nazi scientists vanished, only to reappear with no record and no prosecution because it furthered both the Yanks and the Russians.
While we're nattering, I'm going to quickly. There's a lot of things that were. Hold on, I'm trying to. I forgot to share share this. Oh, there we go. If I quickly share this. Hold on, I'm trying to. Oh God, not my voice. Go away. I hate my voice.
Yeah.
I'll quickly share this. All right. And one thing I will say, thanks to you guys, in the 3 weeks that we've been doing this, I've gone from 56 subs up to 74.
Nice.
So people are definitely enjoying our weirdness. So I will thank you for that. There we go. Right, I've now shared that. There we go. That's that shared.
Share the weird.
Why not? Life's too boring. Life's boring if you're not weird.
No, yes.
Now, this gentleman, if it share.
Travis familiar.
Oh, here we go. Regular as clockwork each week, isn't it? Come on then. Come on then. I think she's just vain.
That's why we're getting the increased
audience. They're coming to see if she turns up or not.
Yeah.
That's it. You sit there for me. That's a good go. But yeah, Travis Walton, the situation.
The abduction.
And the abduction and gone for 5 days, and his friend's been accused of murdering him and this, that, and the other. What are you guys' thoughts on that story?
Yeah, I remember that story, or I remember reading about it anyway.
What are your thoughts?
Pardon my brutality, but bollocks. I've worked with a lad. My nephew still works at the same place, who reckons he's been abducted twice by aliens. And there is another lad there who also reckons he's been abducted by aliens.
Yeah, I shared with you them images. Somebody a couple of days ago privately messaged me about it.
And I trust them as far as I could spit through my screen. But they swear blind, and they honestly, hand on heart, believe that they have been abducted by aliens.
Yeah. I can't see what benefit if aliens were. Like I said, if they come to Earth, they'll be like methane, ethane, gold, silver, all the different chemicals and things
Yeah.
on the periodic table, but it's throughout the whole universe. Why would you travel 120,000 miles at the speed of light to come to Earth to take it when there's probably 50 million planets in between there and here that have got exactly the same chemicals on it?
Yeah.
What benefit do you have traveling from Proxima Centauri to Earth to pick up Joe Bob and his sister having a date down an alleyway? It's
probing us. Yeah, exactly.
Someone pays good money for that sort of thing, Ian.
Well, unless humans on this planet are different enough from everybody else in the area or in the galaxy that they want to study us. I mean, that's the only thing I can think of. Would be that we're different enough.
I'm a firm believer that there is other life out.
I 100% believe there's life out there. I just don't
whether it's humanoid.
It could be
humanoid, whether it's like us.
Oh, we got a viewer. Whoever that is comes forward.
I very much doubt it.
Well, they say it's all sorts of different things. How about the amount of water on the planet, the amount of carbon or silica, the distance from the sun, the heat, the temperature, the gravity, all of that stuff rolls into whether you're going to be a little squat something that crawls on the ground or tall and wavy and thin.
Yeah. We're looking at microbial stuff on the likes of Mars and that. That's just within our own universe, our own galaxy.
Yeah.
The chances of there being another species out there like us are remote, I would say.
Unless you get
is it a little grey man, a little green man with big eyes like Roswell was supposed to be?
To me, the only thing that would make sense. The closeness to humans it would be is you'd have to have at least hands, opposable digits, to be able to build and craft a vehicle that can travel. You're not going to have like a octopus-looking creature being able to spacecraft.
Or
again,
tentacles or something.
We've only got ourselves to base things on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we use opposable thumbs. I mean, they might be that far advanced. Technology might be that far advanced in these places that they don't need it. They can use telepathy. Gravity might be different. I mean, you look at the size of the animal bones, the Tyrannosaurus and stuff like that. They reckon the gravity on the planet in that era was going to be so much.
Wasn't it something like
so much less
more than
for them to reach the sizes they did?
Yeah. Whoever that's watching, hi, welcome. Don't forget to like and subscribe and come say hello to us, guys. We don't buy it. Well, Joe does sometimes, but not very often.
But only if you ask nicely. have to put his teeth in.
No, he's got them in tonight. By the look of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've done what we usually do, but we've wandered off. But we said we was likely to do that anyway. But the Travis Walton situation. Ian thinks it's a load of bullshit. Excuse my language. I can't make this suitable for children now because I just swore, but never mind. I'm not monetising it, so I'm worried. What are your thoughts on it, Joe?
Well, I mean, I don't disbelieve the guy. I don't know him, so I can't sit there and say no. You're absolutely wrong. But he was gone for 5 days. Nobody knew where he was. There were no traces of him other than where he was abducted from. So he showed back up again in the same general area that he was abducted from.
I think it was about 5 miles out, wasn't he?
Yeah, same general area.
Yeah.
It's not that terribly far. And Heber now is about 3,000 people. Heber, Arizona is about 3,000 people. I don't know what it was in 1975. Probably a whole lot less.
Yeah.
So it's just a small town up in the high desert northish of Phoenix. It's just
You're a bit tired, aren't you, Joe?
Yeah, it's one of those things. I don't want to call the guy a liar because, like I said, I wasn't there and I know very little except what I've read about the thing. And I've seen a couple of shows that, depict what was going on in the bright lights, and he disappears, comes back, 5 days later. His friends didn't know anything about it, any of that stuff really. I've known people who have said that they've been abducted.
Because I've worked with one.
Right.
And he's been abducted twice.
Right. And why would you be abducted twice?
I'm the next pope.
And do they put some sort of a tracker inside of you or some sort of a measurement tool and then abduct you a second time to take it out so they can see what your body's doing or something like that?
Well, there is a famous doctor over in America that removes so-called implants, isn't there? Well,
again, the cynic in me just says that that's a money making scheme. Oh, I've got they planted something in me. Okay, I'll put you out. And look at this. This is what they put in you.
Yeah, transistor radio.
That's 10 grand for that.
Yeah.
When you got scarred on your neck, bollocks. Pardon my French.
It's so hard. I mean, I've seen ghosts. I've had things touch me. I've had things thrown at me. And then I'm told I'm insane because I've seen and felt and all that kind of stuff. So
if you think about it, Joe, logically, living in a world full of technology, something like a craft flying through space is more logical or more believable than seeing the undead.
Right. But then again, how far are they coming from? How far more advanced are they than we are? They would have to be.
Well, this is it, Joe. The technology. This is what we were saying the other week. How far technology has come in the last 100 years. I mean, if you took a helicopter back now to Victorian age.
Right.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
They would not believe it. Look at the technology that allows us to talk now and do this.
Well, you guys are in England. I'm in France right now. And there's people watching
exactly.
Maybe all over the world.
Other than
let's just talk with my laptop.
Well, even with your laptop not working particularly well, you freeze the odd second.
Yeah.
Technology but he does that normally when he's talking on the phone.
And that's what the powers that be are allowing us to have that technology. What are they keeping back?
Right.
This is one of the things that allegedly came out of Roswell.
Right.
The technology, the aircraft, the spacecraft, or whatever it was that crashed there, the technology was so far in advance of anything we've got, even now.
Right. And supposedly they've been reverse engineering that stuff. And that's where we got the microwave, we got the radar from, we got all sorts of circuitry.
They're allowing plebs like us that.
Right.
What have they got in tech? What have they got in the background?
Look at what we've got now, and what are we going to have if we don't blow ourselves up between now and then, 1,000 years from now? Yeah. What is our civilization going to look like? And the funny thing is, it may look exactly like it does now. We've just got better technology. Because back in the 50s, we're going to have flying cars, we're going to have all sorts of stuff. And now we've got people dancing on TikTok.
Yeah. Well,
You know?
again,
Yeah.
I said this the other week. We've got scientists now who can send a craft out into space, go round Jupiter, 10 years out, 10 years back, and they can pinpoint it to within seconds of where it's going to land and when it's going to land.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And you've got people walking around our town centres who, with their arse hanging out, who think spice is a great life choice.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you guys, but I do honestly believe that the gap in intelligence between them who got the brains and them who haven't is getting bigger. And conspiracy theory.
I know. I'm losing brains, so I'm so quite worried.
Yeah.
Well,
but
that's
you
intentional,
look
though, I
at
think.
technology. When we were kids, we were taught how to do things. We had technical drawing, we had technical science, we had
wood shop, metal shop, auto shop, all those classes that we were learning things.
Even
we were actually learning how to deal with life.
Yeah.
You look at it now, they're taught that they can be a rabbit if they want.
Yeah.
They are dumbing everything down. And while they can dumb it down, they can control you.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But Joe's saying about reverse engineering.
Yeah.
Him mentioning that, then we've got no choice really but to bring up Bob Lazar.
Okay.
Bring up what, sorry?
Bob Lazar.
Bob Lazar.
Now, initially and for years, I didn't believe a word he said. Then some years back, he'd done a drawing of a scanner type thing that you put your hand on, a biometric scanner, I think the word was. And everyone's saying, oh, he's talking about his arse and blah, blah, blah. And then a couple of years ago, the American government actually released images of this biometric detector that he described over 40 years ago. They keep saying that he was never a scientist or he never worked here, there, or anywhere. But there's phone books for these places that he claims he's worked that actually have his name and phone number written in there. Yeah, they still claim he never worked there. Back in the 80s, he mentioned element 115. And recently they found an element 115.
Yeah.
So the question is, was he telling the truth or was that the start of disclosure? And he's basically a patsy that was put out there to leak the stuff out deliberately.
To get us used to the idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly. Drip feed it.
Yeah. See, the trouble is, over the years, he's been, some years back, he got arrested on prostitution charges, running a whorehouse or something.
He's got to make his money somehow.
Yeah.
Well, I've been single a long time. No.
Oldest business in the world.
But I don't know what you two make of him.
I mean, I've seen videos. Some guy talking about all this stuff. I think I would believe Edgar Casey's stuff over Bob Lazar's because, like you said, I think Bob Lazar is there for disinformation. He's working with those groups to put that stuff out and make it look silly.
I think Lou Elizondo's a disinformation officer as well. I think he's been put out there deliberately. But there's a lot of talk about the, is it Project Blue Book?
Right.
As anyone that watches this can see, I don't know much about UFOs.
Yeah, I'm not a huge UFOer.
Like, you probably can tell I'm not either.
But
my cynicism tends to show.
There is something to it. What it is, I don't know.
People have been reporting UFOs and things like that for centuries.
Yeah,
I mean, look, you've got drawings and carvings on walls and things like that, where you've got a person looking there and looking like they have a helmet on their head and they're in a spacesuit.
Yep.
From long ago, a couple of thousand years ago.
Yes.
So you've got the
paintings
Mayan
with-
stuff. You know, that guy that's supposedly riding by that picture. Oh, I wish I had a picture of that. I thought about bringing it in, but he's sitting there in this thing, and it looks like he's got his feet on pedals, his hands on pedals.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Something in his mouth. Let me look it up.
They did actually make a 3D printing of that at some point.
Yep.
Is it Quetzalcoatl? No, hang on. I think I'm thinking the wrong one. But yeah, I know. If you let us know, I'll chuck it up. But yeah, I think it's people like the Ancient Alien, like Giorgio Tsoukalos, Eric von Daniken, and people like that have just thought, oh, that will look good in a book or a TV program.
Yeah.
There's no actual, other than modern tellings from people like the Ancient Alien theorists, the ancient stories don't say this was him sat in his spaceship, do they?
No, I've got a picture of it. I'm uploading it right now.
Yeah.
They didn't know what it was.
There was, but with Travis Walton, the situation, it's interesting. Like Joe said, I wouldn't call him an outright liar.
Right. We weren't there. We have no idea.
I would take it with an absolutely massive pinch of salt.
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you're saying.
I've had multiple polygraph tests, and my friends had polygraph tests. But the FBI don't, and CIA won't even use polygraphs. As we said, I think Ian said last week, they're not reliable. They can be beaten easily.
Very easily.
You know, so a couple of times, and it's like,
and
you've only got to believe yourself what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I mean, I could go on and quite easily convince it that I believed in every light in the sky was a UFO.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some sort of outside stimulus. But see how this guy is sitting here? He's got his hands on like a steering column. He's got his nose plugged into a breathing apparatus. His feet are running stuff. I mean, that looks like a side view of somebody maybe flying some sort of a craft.
Yeah,
I know I should have flipped it, but I didn't.
And if you look literally straight under his bum, it looks like two flames that you could, I suppose, depict as
an engine, jet,
something.
Yeah.
So,
but even like that, Joe. I mean, you think modern spacecraft.
Oh, sorry.
You think of the Apollo missions; they are like that, flying. Right. When they take off, they are laying back like that.
Yep. Yeah. They're sitting there, they're leaning back. They've got their helmet on. They've got their oxygen coming in. They've got all the stuff that they need.
Yeah.
For the flight.
Yeah, and you've got I've never actually read it, but you've got the Baha. Hold on, I've accidentally lost Joe. Sorry, I went to press that thing off and my mouse jumped. Sorry.
Well, yeah, I've got one there for putting in.
Let me see if I can remove it. There we go. I think I might end up having to pay out this money to get this fixed because it's getting on my nerves now. So,
well, I was going to say.
There we go. And another one, Joe's just, or somebody else. There we go.
I have. This is this is a painting.
Is that one from Australia?
This is one from Crayon. Believe it or not.
I have no idea even where in the world that is.
I'll tell you.
I know the Crayon is in my kid's toy box.
Oh yeah, but
that's definitely interesting.
But again, this is supposedly from donkeys years ago.
Right.
Well, I don't know what to make of that. And what country was that?
I'm just trying to find it now. I can't get the details of it. But these are other cave paintings, hang on.
I think I managed. Yes, I managed to move it without my mouse knocking everything off. I was brought this up. I was going to mention these. Yeah, this is Giorgio Tsoukalis' favourite go-to thing of proof of aliens. Even though historians and anthropologists and things like that have said they're actually depictions of birds and butterflies and flying bugs and things, the ancient aliens always come up with that's proof of aircraft. They even made a remote control version of one of them.
Yeah, I can see why they think that.
If you look up on the left, on the left-hand one, you have like the thicker bit towards the top pointed end. You got two what look like stems that are curling, can't you?
Yeah. To me, they look like feelers of an animal.
That's a butterfly.
Of an insect. They look like the antenna, the feelers of an animal, an insect.
Yeah. Talking of insects, I've got a fly crawling on me laptop screen. There we go. Yeah, them ones I've never been a believer in them being depictions. So I don't know. It would be nice to think that there is something out there. But I think was it last week or the week before Ian mentioned about the zoo hypothesis.
Right.
That we're just basically apes on a planet. And I know there's people if they watch this, they're going to say we've never been apes, but never mind. We won't go there. I think that's plausible. I don't think it's necessarily believable, but it is plausible. Oh, well, one of you guys just posted this one. Let's have a. What I might do is next week I might I paid 180 quid for a tablet, and I've had it over a year. I've never have used it, so I might set that up for this next week. Oh, and I've frozen. Sorry, guys, I froze.
This is like a petroglyph in a cave. This is a drawing in a cave, and it looks like people in a suit with a helmet, with tools, from a long time ago. And I can't imagine, Billy the Caveman running around with a spacesuit on.
No. See, now if you look, the one on the right in what would be his right hand, to me, that looks like a bow.
Right.
It's the wrong way around.
Yeah.
He's got hold of the string.
Maybe he's just carrying it.
If you look at the one on the left, on the right-hand side of his head, the one near his first one near his shoulder, second one and third one look like they've got arrowheads on the end of them.
Yeah.
So to me, that could easily be depiction of warring between tribes.
Could be.
Could be.
And the thing in the lefty's hand is a shield of some sort.
Could be.
Possibly, yeah.
They both got something in their hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They both, if you look at the one on the left, he just seems to be holding it a bit further back than the other one. But if you put them brought them up so that they were like that, I'd suggest they were very much the same.
Yeah, they do look very similar, don't they?
And they both, if you can't really see, but they both look like they got a club or something in their other hand.
Yeah. So it could well be just a depiction of warring tribes. Is that Native American, Joe?
Again, this is a problem, Carl, that I have with a lot of these things.
Yeah.
It's supposition on our part.
Mm.
It's like we said the other week about ghosts, and when we were talking about the likes of, I don't know, Dick Turpin, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
The actual story started up to 50 years after the...
Yeah.
And these are thousands of years old. So it's purely supposition on our part as to what they actually saw. Did they see aliens? Yeah. I mean, there is a theory that we've been dumped on Earth. Humankind has been dumped on Earth.
We were seeded here, I've heard that theory many times.
What do you mean, panspermia?
Right. Well, or we were brought here by aliens, planted on this planet to see how we would fare.
Yeah.
And when we get to a point far enough in advance, we'll come down and say, "Okay, you guys did good."
I love it. You two know I love science, and there was a thing. Because my laptop's playing up, I won't be able to get it in time. But there was a couple of guys, an American professor and one from, I think, Cambridge. I've got a peer-reviewed paper coming out in 2027 that alleges that they've got almost definitive proof for panspermia. Whether it will materialise or not, or whether it be, because it's being peer-reviewed at the moment, whether it will materialise or be, do you know what, it don't work, so it gets panned, I don't know. But I did find the thought that quite interesting.
I can't say anything bad about the idea of panspermia, because that would be some type of life, bacterial, whatever, on some meteors, some asteroid, something that has landed here and, went ahead and had the stuff, had the wherewithal to move on and live. So that, to me, is totally possible. That's something flying through space from another place, and it's live. It was able to live on that rock or whatever and show up here and crash and go ahead and live.
Yeah.
And then that's where we all came from long, long, long in the past. So I have no problem at all with that idea.
No, I mean, I must admit, a lot of the theories go with that, evolution and all the rest of it, they could trace back to single microbe organisms.
Right, and then it grows and grows and grows. Pretty soon we got fish with feet. Then we've got whatever, coming out, and then we've got Ian, who loves UFOs.
Yeah.
So
big believer. Believe it or not, I do believe there is life outside of this planet, outside of our system.
Yeah. Now,
what I don't believe is that every bloody light in the sky is an alien.
Right.
Yeah. Prime example.
You know yourself, you look at all these programs, you see, I've got video of an alien.
Yeah.
Well, it's a helicopter 3 miles away. The reason you can't hear it is because the wind's blowing in that direction.
Right.
Yeah. Ian saying about Dots in the Sky reminds me of one image that I did download, if it will upload. Yeah, next week, I think I'm going to use my tablet to do this, because this is really starting to wind me up now. But prime example of what
I was going to say, while you're bringing that up, I'm going back about 10 years, 15 years ago, went to a mate's house for New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, she was living in a 3-story house.
Yeah.
We were watching out the window. It was, what the hell is that? There was something floating across. Wasn't moving fast enough to be an aircraft, we didn't think, or anything like that. We watched it for a good few minutes.
Mm.
And then Chris, mate, went and got a pair of binoculars. And it was a Chinese lantern.
Yeah.
But watching it was one of those. I could have quite easily taken a blurry photo, blurry video. We've got UFOs here. We've got.
When mine and Heidi's eldest, CJ, was first born, we lived in a flat. The wall to the right of the left of the building, there was a pub garden. And my son Dayton that died, every Christmas I would release a Chinese lantern. And we happened to be living there at that time. And I released it. It was quite late at night, just before the pub was closing. And I stood there saying I miss him and all that, like I would do. And from in the pub, I actually heard people going, "Look, there's a UFO up there."
Yeah.
So, and I must admit, it was quite a sad time for me. Hearing that did make me giggle quite a bit.
Yeah.
So that did. I'm trying to upload this image, but it won't let me. But it was no, it's not gonna let me. It's not letting me delete because I've got other things on there. It's not letting me deliver. But you said about the dots in the sky. Just looking back at the Phoenix Lights, for instance, they've said the army have said it's flares or RF, whoever it was, or USA.
Right. Equally spaced apart, same intensity, floating across the city. Yeah, it's flares.
Yeah. And no smoke coming off of them.
Right.
Well, the other thing with that, the other thing with a lot of these sightings, they do tend to be around army or military bases. And we asked the army, we asked the Air Force whether they had anything in the air that night. And they said no.
Yeah.
They're not going to bloody tell you, are they?
No.
Especially if it's a top secret. Oh, yeah, we had our stealth bomber up there.
Yeah. Well, you was mentioning about the Rendlesham Forest incident.
Yeah.
A little while ago. The base there now is actually used for films.
Yeah.
One of the Fast and Furious films. I didn't know. I can't stand the films myself. After the second film, when women started putting their clothes on, I stopped watching. So, but the one, I think it was the fourth one. They ended up in the army base, and that was actually filmed where the Rendlesham incident was witnessed. But I've got big problems with that because there's 3 that have spoken out about Rendlesham, 2 that are very vocal about it, 1 that's spoken about it but won't ever go in front of a camera. All the rest have said no, they're talking out rasses, basically. And if you know, I don't know if you've noticed, but if you look it up on, say, Ancient Aliens or it's a random UFO program on YouTube, and they've taken Peniston or whoever to the area, where it landed changes every time. They never go, this is the spot, and it's the same one. I've seen a video clip of it in the middle of a forest, and if you go to Rendlesham, and I've actually got an image of me bits sat next to it, they've built a metal aluminium spaceship.
That looks just like the ship. Yeah.
I have got an image of me somewhere, but because my computer's so slow, I won't be able to do it and get it in time. But I've seen it that it was supposedly landed there. I've seen it supposedly landed in a field. It's never consistent. And 1 minute it's nothing happened, and then suddenly this binary stuff all suddenly comes out, and I just don't believe it. I really don't, because the binary supposedly has coordinates, and it comes up to where High Brazil would have once existed. So there's no proof that High Brazil ever did exist.
True, just stories.
Yeah, but then the stories are the same as Atlantis. Exactly.
Well, that's true, but they, have you looked at the? I know we're changing subjects here, but have you looked at the that area out in northwest Africa?
Sahara.
Yeah,
the Sahara.
Yeah, that matches.
I must admit, the aerial view is absolutely breathtaking.
Yep.
It is have you ever seen that, Ian?
No, I don't think I have. I've just put.
What's that one?
I'll grab it.
I've just put something up with what we were for sharing, with what we were talking about before.
Where are we? Oh, hang on, I think I see it. Unfortunately, because my laptop's been a bugger. Is this the one? Let's have a look.
Yeah, that's the one.
Whoa.
This is, I mean, you've seen the drone displays.
Right.
Yes, I have actually, yeah.
Some of them they're absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
But can you imagine a tribesman like that? As it says, let's do a drone light show and become the gods.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have no idea, no concept of what that is. Yeah, and if you added a sound thing to it.
That just looks absolutely fantastic.
It's bloody amazing.
No, I mean, I live in what you'd call civilization, and if I saw that in the sky, I would be blown away at how amazing it looked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think of someone like that, they've no idea, no concept of electricity, let alone.
For instance, there's like that. Is it? Are they the North Senegalese? I think, or something. There's that one tribe that have not ever been contacted by white people, and the very few white people that have gone onto the island have instantly been killed. And if boats come within X amount of distance, they start firing arrows and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
So can you imagine if one of those? I just found it. Can you imagine if one of those saw something like that?
Oh. Exactly.
No, I have got it. Here we go.
There it is. This is in Mauritania in northwest Africa, and according to Plato's description of Atlantis, it had mountains to the north, which has mountains to the north. Mm-hmm. It had an inlet from the sea to the south, which you can see where that green arrow or green flag is. That's coming in. There were rings of water and rings of land with bridges going across all the way through. And this really matches what it was. And there are maps, ancient maps, that show Atlantis outside of the Pillars of Hercules, which is the Straits of Gibraltar.
Yep.
Showing Atlantis being in this general area in Mauritania. So
it looked phenomenal. It looks absolutely amazing.
Do you know what it looks like to me?
Eyeball.
No.
No?
Nautilus shell.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It does, except that these are concentric rings.
Yeah.
They're not all the way around, but these are concentric rings. I would love to go here someday and walk around and see what it looks like on the ground.
Yeah. There are documentaries that have actually gone there and done things there that are on YouTube actually. From the ground.
Where is it? Where is it?
Mauritania.
Mauritania. I think it's called the Eye of Atlantis, isn't it?
Well, it's a Richat structure. There's a number of names for it.
Right. It's. I think if I remember rightly from the documentary I saw on it, most seem to think it was potentially a meteor landing.
Right, with concentric rings and.
Yeah, I can't. I don't know. It is interesting.
Yes.
But
exactly.
you saying about Plato, saying about where Atlantis is, there's no proof that Plato even existed.
Other than all the writings about him and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's writings about him, but, you know, there's writings about Harry Potter. There's writings about Spider-Man. You know.
Yeah.
Well, there's writings about the Bible and Jesus and.
Yeah. However, I can't remember his name. I don't know his name, and I ain't even going to attempt to pronounce it. But the guy that supposedly was Plato's teacher, there is proof that he existed. So, does that mean Plato does definitely exist, or he was a character that was created? It's like we said like Ian said the other week. Robin Hood, there's no proof that he existed. It's just a character made up of multiple people.
We have writings by Plato. Socrates taught Plato. Plato taught Aristotle. Aristotle taught Alexander the Great. All the way down the line.
Yeah, but the writings. It's like you saying about writings. Yeah, okay, there's writings, and obviously somebody that wrote it. Plato could have been like a pseudonym. Stephen King, he uses Richard Bachman. Right. He wrote The Running Man as Richard Bachman.
Right.
You know.
There's another photo of that eye, the eye of the Sahara.
Have you just shared it?
Yeah.
Is that no, that's Joe's one, wasn't it? I think that was Joe's one.
Yeah, that was Joe's.
I just got rid of it.
Oh, yeah, got it. I found it. Yeah. Oh wow.
Yeah, that's another picture of the same thing.
Exactly. That is. But that's in the middle of the Sahara.
Right.
You look at the sand dunes and everything there. Hang on, I'm going to have to plug my laptop in. You're vanishing.
I remember to plug mine in this week. That might be why my cursor keeps freezing.
Yeah, but you look at that, the Sahara's drifting.
The
Sahara's moving. It's covering a great amount of the earth. The landscape's changing constantly. They reckon there's cities and everything that are under 50 foot of sand.
It's quite believable.
That we don't even know exist. There's a few we know that exist, but they've vanished in the space of time. Even in
12,000 years ago, when Atlantis was supposed to existed, how much of this sand was there? Or was it actually green and vibrant?
Yeah. I mean, you look at the history of the planet. We were once. I was watching a program the other day. Believe it or not, it was one of Michael Portillo's great rail journeys. But they were talking about Scotland and England. Our two land masses. Scotland used to be far, far away in the north, and we used to be around the equator. The landmass of Britain came up and was as the ice age, the weight drove us under Scotland. That's why the actual geology of the two.
There's something similar happening over in Africa now, isn't there? Yeah, there is something similar happening in somewhere in Africa now. Apparently, the land's splitting, and they think it's going to make basically a new continent.
Yeah,
I've frozen again. Unfortunately,
no, you're not freezing at this end.
No. Anyone watches this, apologies. It's not freezing your end.
No. Yeah, no.
Yeah, now you are.
Yeah.
You'll have to excuse me a minute.
Yeah. All I can see at the moment is Joe sat there and Ian drinking a glass of water. So I don't know if I'm not sure if I refresh the page whether that will actually cause problems. Oh, hang on, it's starting to come back again. Apologies to anyone that watches this. My laptop is not very good. Hold on. Oh, my laptop's completely died. God damn it. Oh, Control, delete. Oh. Right, I can hear someone clicking their computer, but I don't know if you guys can hear me.
We can hear you. You're just frozen solid.
Yeah.
Hi, folks. We're talking aliens tonight, and UFOs and abductions, and well, we broke off into other little subjects, but hey, it's working okay. Ian will be back in just a second, and hopefully Carl will be too. So got to sit back and think about this alien thing. I know there's the religious side of all of this, where God created the heavens and the earth and things like that, and there shouldn't be any of this stuff hanging around, but just another way of looking at life and what's going on in the universe. There's Carl messaging the group. He says his laptop has crashed, so he's probably going to reboot and come back in here in just a minute. I think we're still live, but Carl's laptop died.
And I'm back, sorry.
What? He's back.
All right.
Oh, technology. I'm sorry, man.
Told you it's the aliens.
Yeah, it's got to be
Not
the
like
aliens.
us talking about them.
Right, where was? Oh,
have you
yes,
guys heard the? I was going to say, have you guys heard the theory that Atlantis was actually inhabited by aliens?
Yeah,
I've heard that theory as well. They had now see that's where we get into Edgar Casey. When he would go into his trances and start looking into things, he would talk about flying cars. He would talk about all the things that they had going on in Atlantis and describe it. So who knows?
There was one thing about Edgar Casey. I believe he was known as the Sleeping Prophet, wasn't he?
Right.
Was one. I think it was 1937. He said under one of the feet of the Great Sphinx there would be room found, and I think it was 2008 they actually found the room.
I don't think they did it physically because they won't allow them to go in there and do it. But
yes,
with
they found proof of the room.
Right.
They were set to go and do the dig and go in there and find out. But on the very morning it's due to start, the Egyptian government said nope.
Right. Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of stuff going on.
Raises the conspiracy theories, what they're hiding.
Yeah, it makes you wonder why they don't want anyone to look in there. It does make you wonder. But the fact that he'd said it, in 1937, between 1937 and 39, they said this, and in 2008 they actually find it. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not I'm not sure what to make of that. He was definitely an interesting character.
Yeah, I've read quite a bit and of Edgar Casey stuff. My grandmother liked Edgar Casey and researching his stuff. So, of course, I got involved in it because, well, that's just the way it was.
I must admit, I've not overly researched. I've looked, if I've like been flicking through and there's something about him, I might have had a brief watch of it or something, but I've not like looked into it in depth or anything. So, well, who posted this? What?
I did.
That was you, was it?
No, sorry. There, I believe this is in Mexico. They found a couple of these. They say they're 1,000 years old and they're actual mummies of aliens. And then other people say, no, it's just sand molded to look like an alien. So I don't know how real, how true it is or anything, but I've stumbled across this picture a few times before.
Now, the trouble is, it was Gaia that put out about this one, weren't it?
Right. Well, and there's other places that have come up besides, the ancient alien type stuff.
But initially, it was the Gaia lot that put this out. And if you look into that, vast majority of them have been sued for a lot of the stuff they put out over the years.
True.
Because it's out and out lies. Eric von Daniken, for instance, when he put out Chariots of the Gods, and everyone's saying about how it's the most wonderful book about UFOs and aliens and all. I've read it twice, and I thought it was the biggest pile of rubbish I've ever read in my life. I just did not find it interesting. And I know I'll probably get haters for that, but I just did not find it interesting at all. I really didn't.
I have tried reading it. I got about 10 pages in, and it did not.
It's a yawn fest. It's an out and out yawn fest.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you've got like the is it Candera light, the so-called bulb that supposedly the Egyptians used to do the inside of the pyramids and things. You can clearly see it's meant to be a snake on a lily pad, but people like von Daniken go, no, it's proof that they had electricity and light bulbs. No, it's not. Ken, what do you? I don't know if one of you be able to do it because, well, as you know, my laptop's screwed up. Angkor Wat. There was a supposedly carving of a dinosaur on Angkor Wat. And supposedly the tops of Angkor Wat, the carvings are the same shape as Vimanas. It looks like a Stegosaurus, basically.
Yeah, I got it right here. Just a second. Let me get it in the right folder. I have my own folder for these things, so I don't put up memes that I shouldn't be putting up.
I had so many folders, I had to go out and buy myself a 50 gig pen stick to put it all on there.
Okay, it should be up there now.
Yeah. There we go. There. Supposedly a Stegosaurus.
Right, on Angkor Wat.
Yeah. Now, real, it's going back to the ancient alien lot. Yet again, they claim it's a Stegosaurus and proof that man was around with dinosaurs. But real archaeologists actually say they think it's something like a cow. And what is thought of as the spikes of the dinosaur is only actually palm leaves or something similar to that. It's just leaves in the background. I must admit, it does look like a Stegosaurus.
It does.
I've got another one here.
You look at the head.
Oh, sorry.
You've got the fan.
Almost looks, yeah. But what's more believable, it was a Stegosaurus, pet Stegosaurus, and Fred Flintstone lived in Angkor Wat, or it was a cow standing in front of a bush?
It depends on how long dinosaurs actually lived. There's things like we said the other week. There's species that are hundreds of years extinct, if I can get the words out.
Look at that. There you go.
Yeah.
That is pretty much exactly the same image.
It's on a different temple. This one is on Trepang temple. But it's the same, almost exactly the same thing without the Stegosaurus bits.
I wonder if I'm going to... Yeah, that is identical.
Yeah.
The only thing that's missing is the spikes in the background.
But if you look
at
that one, as it is now, the one with the spikes, and then you look at the one behind it, the other one.
You go across. Yeah.
There looks to have been work done on the back of it where the spikes would be.
Yeah, right in the centre, by the front leg, there's like a indentation.
Yeah, but you look along the back of it. There has been something on the back of that. Those spikes have been removed.
Yeah.
Different temple too, so.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see how far away those temples are from each other.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask you that. But yeah, we wandered off as we always do. We wandered off, but we was about half hour talking ago about Bob Lazar. What are your thoughts on it? Because there's stuff he said 40 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, that are actually coming out now as truth.
It's about an hour walk from Angkor Wat to the Trepang. 16 minutes by car.
So pretty much from the top of Angkor Wat, you could, provided there was enough clearance, you could virtually see each other.
Right.
Yeah.
They're
well, you would imagine they'd have the same.
Likely be the same builder, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Same craftsman. Same religion, same craftsman, same in that area.
Yeah. I think out of all of these alien situations and all that, the one that annoys me the most is the ET came down and used his spaceship to build the pyramids. And there's just so many people out there stupid enough to believe it.
Oh. Like
but
I said, there's people out there think that spice is a good life choice. There's people out there that think Keir Starmer's doing a wonderful job.
Yeah, well, you said yourself the human race is losing brain cells.
Yes. Exactly. That just sums up.
Yeah. Right. I chose cryptids. Ian twisted our arms into doing this one. And next week's your choice, Joe.
How about reincarnation?
Reincarnation.
Yeah. That'd be a good one. Yeah. One I do want to do, I want to try, obviously I'll in the comments, I'd have to in the addresses and that, but I do want to do so-called ghost videos.
Yeah, that would be an excellent one. I think I've been doing a lot of reading on reincarnation recently. A lot of the kids' stories, where they talk about this happened to them and this is what happened to them, and then their mom takes them in and they start looking this stuff up, and it actually happened. So
there was one recently, weren't there? A little boy said, "This is where I was murdered," and when they got there,
he knew exactly what had happened to the person, and could even take him to where his body was.
Yeah, they found the bones, didn't they? I believe. The only thing
there was another one in, I think, Ireland or something like that, where the kid said that he lived on an island in a white house and talked about the house and how he did it and where the tree was and everything like that, who lived in the house, the names, gave all of that. And they went up there to do it. And he's walking around saying, this is where this is. And just,
There was that famous case of the woman that claimed that she'd reincarnated from Ireland as well, and she actually met up with what were now her elderly children, supposedly her elderly children, and allegedly she knew things about them when they were younger that she had no way of knowing.
Right. Good subject. So
I must admit that's a subject I've not really looked into.
No, like aliens and UFOs. You're really good at that. Yeah, I would think that you had suggested UFOs instead of Ian.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's
It's like with the alien situation, supposedly what are your thoughts on the Men in Black? I know they're pretty crap films, but I mean the actual
entertaining.
There's talk about Men in Black for years and years and years. Yeah. Coming in, government people with their sunglasses and their big black SUVs, wearing their black suits and white shirts and black ties.
Have you noticed though, since disclosure began some years back, the reports of MIB stopped?
Mm-hmm. They got everybody thinking about it. They got everybody, wow, this is kind of cool, and they don't need to think about it anymore for a while.
I don't know. You still get it.
Yeah.
You still get accounts of Men in Black turning up, and
not as much.
Not as often, but again, there seemed to be more of it when there wasn't technology.
That happened years ago. Yeah. So, as I said the other week, when CJ is almost 12 now, so it was like about 11 years ago, I was outside the chip shop and there's something that was going through the sky and sort of dissolved into a cloud. It was in the local EDP, which was a local newspaper, of well over 100 people would have witnessed it. I was on Facebook and all sorts of things saying about it. I didn't have a knock at the door. Yet supposedly, if you mention anything about UFOs or witnessing it, you get knocks at the door by Men in Black.
Well, Rendlesham, how we started.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen programs with interviews with the actual people who were involved.
Mm.
And they basically tell a very similar story.
Mm.
Government agents turning up, not necessarily Men in Black, but government agency people turning up, threats and all sorts.
Yeah.
This didn't happen. You didn't see anything. You were... And even now, so long after the event, reluctant to talk about it.
Well, I said out of the three, one of them won't go on camera at all.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Then it does make you wonder. I mean, like we said before about technology, if we've got this technology, what are they keeping back? There's talk of quantum physics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
quantum mechanics, quantum physics. Yeah.
Yeah. Why would they want that getting out there?
Yeah.
The powers that be don't want us plebs. Like I say, you look at, I don't know what it's like in France, you look at bloody school curriculums now. I mean, when I was a kid, you got a car manual that told you how to change your points and all the rest of it. Now it tells you don't drink the fucking... Sorry. Don't drink the bloody radiator fluid.
Right.
No one of I've actually seen, I've not seen it in person, but I've seen photographs people have taken on petrol pumps in some places around the world. It says, do not insert into anus.
Yes. Well, I've seen that with not necessarily the petrol pump, but I've seen it with air pumps. Because it was apparently a craze.
And frozen bananas.
Yeah.
Do not insert frozen bananas in anus.
Yes. Yeah. It was actually a craze of sticking like a initiation ceremony.
Yeah.
You get the air pump and stick it up the backside and hey. And all of a sudden you got ruptured.
How about the laundry soap? The Tide Pods.
Yeah.
No, the world is getting more stupid. I saw on just before we came onto the live initially before my computer screwed up. a short video clip. They were showing how to crack an egg. The generation nowadays need videos to know how to crack an egg.
Yeah.
Really? It's like my boys, they will sit down, they'll just sit in front of their Xbox and their place. In essence, it's my fault because it was me introduced them to Xbox and Super Mario and things like that. But they'll just sit down in front of that for 6 or 7 hours a day. Yeah. When from the age of 3, I was being taught how to garden and cook.
Right.
Yeah.
From the age of 3.
I used to cook full-blown dinners at 9.
This is everyone goes on about kids today and the Gen Z and all this who they can't do anything, the snowflakes and all the rest of it. They can't deal with confrontation. They can't deal with being told the truth. They can't have a. It's our generation that started all that. And the generations after us who compiled it to where we are now. And
our generation definitely had the best music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
In fairness, there are some in between then and now that have been pretty good.
But... Yeah, but there was some before that was half reasonable.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But like I said, it's our generation that's created this issue.
Yeah.
As a joke I saw the other day, nowadays we had Wonder Woman. These days you wonder if it's a woman.
Yeah. Yeah. The world's definitely...
The world is...
strange.
Yes. The world is getting worse.
Yeah. Yeah, I think because there's been new rulings in America and in England over that. I won't go into it because I'm not being monetized anyway, so I don't really care. But, there's rulings have been put in place now that can't be legally done anymore. So it's about bloody time. That's all I'm saying.
Well, yeah.
So it annoys me because my cousin is transgender. Grew up male and is now lived as a female for I think about 10 years. And, it's the real people that suffer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Those that are trying to get likes on TikTok.
This is the thing. It's like ADHD and stuff like that. It's like things like that. The people who have really got it.
Like my boys.
Like your lads.
Yeah.
People who really got it, who suffer with it.
Yep. Well, the good news is when because I spent the weekend with the boys, I ain't even going to go there. But we got a call.
Your black eyes coming along.
Yesterday, I think it was. We spoke to Harrison's caseworker, and he's finally, after 7 years, been given his ECHP plan. 7 years.
Yeah.
The only trouble is there's no schools that will take him.
Yeah. Well, that's the other thing.
So, but that's neither here nor there anyway. So,
yeah, we won't go down politics line because I get vertigo on my soapbox.
Oh, we've spoken about me and you have spoken about politics in here many times, and your views are almost identical to mine. But I won't put that here. So
no.
I've said I'm going to behave tonight, and I am behaving.
I keep prodding, but you're doing very well.
I've been a good boy today.
I do keep prodding, but
I'm behaving. I said I'm behaving. I think it's so rough, but we're going to do reincarnation.
Unless you got another one you want to do.
No,
I'm happy enough. It means I'm going to have to research.
Format, Joe. We'll spin it and see where it leads.
Yeah.
Oh, we've wandered off it. We said last week we was going to wander, and we have. In fairness, though, we've been quite good.
Yeah.
I did have topics. I did have.
Yeah. No,
I came prepared.
I came prepared with loads, but unfortunately, having a crappy laptop is really hindered me a lot today.
Me thinks he does complain too much, Joe.
Oh. I don't know. It's because the trouble is I download too much because I was going through the phase of doing video editing for the previous like ghost hunts and all that. I had to put down so many different things to do it, and it's just screwed it up. And I phoned up about it, and the bloke on the phone, he said, it may sound weird, but you have to keep it plugged in all the time. I said, yeah, I do. The battery will last. 100% battery will last 3 or 4 minutes. And he said, that's what the problem is. That's why, because it's sort of like, if I move the mouse, it literally copies everything, turns everything blue, moves it or shrinks it or cuts it out completely. And apparently he said it's something to do with the battery. Yeah. But I said, I can't justify paying 110 quid for a battery. You know, all right, in fairness, that's including like people doing it, you know, but that's a lot of money for just a battery on a laptop. Yeah. You know, so I've got 3 other laptops in my bedroom that I had the same problem with. So they're not as good.
My old one was the same. It was exactly the same because I left, like you say, I left it plugged in.
Yeah.
My laptop, this one right here will only go to 80%. Yeah. I leave it plugged in all the time. It'll go to 80% and it'll stay there at 80%. Yeah.
Well, my work one's the same as yours, Carl. It's constantly plugged in.
Yeah.
If I go anywhere, like when I go down to Southampton or I go across the...
Oh, of course, you use it for work, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have to take my charger with me. I have to... But if I... Even though it's showing 100%, I'll stick it on the thing, unplugged, and within 10 minutes, it's coming up low battery.
Yeah, when you buy them, they say, it's got 15 hours life on the battery.
Oh, yeah.
It hasn't. 15
hours total life.
Yeah, until you have to buy a new one, I think it is. Yeah. This one, I think it was either last year or the year before, but it's not very old at all. So, and Harry, I'm even managing to talk to you now because I get so angry with it. Half the time I throw it across the room, literally, or I'll end up punching the screen.
Well, I said at work once to our IT guys, I said, you nearly got it back in a bag of bits.
Yeah.
And he said, go for it. He says, they're not our laptops, we just manage them, so do what you want with it.
Yeah. But no, I think I'm going to have to do a bit of research on it. I've done cursory looks over the years for stuff about reincarnation, but I really don't know much about it at all.
No, I don't. Like I say, I've seen the one with the young lad. I've seen there's a couple in America that I'm aware of, similar sort of cases with young girls.
Mm.
Similar sort of thing, saying they can describe the previous life.
Mm.
But I'll have fun looking into it. It's a topic fascinating.
It's an interesting topic anyway.
Yeah.
There is, because it is quite, it's, especially now, it's been studied a lot, isn't it? So
I follow a guy on I think TikTok or Instagram, one of the two, and he studies this stuff. And he'll go in and talk about reincarnation and tell you all these stories that he's researched and gone on. It's absolutely fascinating to me.
Mm. I tell you what I would love to do. I'd love to try hypnosis, past life regression.
I did have past life regression once. And allegedly, I died when the side of a wall collapsed in some point in central London during the Second World War. Allegedly, but okay.
Well, this is it. I'd love to try it because I don't know how susceptible I am to hypnosis. I don't think I would be.
You'd be surprised.
But I would love to give it a go, but I'm...
The trouble with
some ways, I'm scared witless as to what would come out.
Yeah, trouble with hypnosis is... See, that's why I'm not a fan of hypnosis when it comes to like briefly go back to the topic, with like the alien situation. Oh, I got abducted, this, that and the other. you know, when you're under hypnosis, if it is working, you're very susceptible to anything. Because there was a study done. There was I think it was a young 15-year-old, and they said that he'd been to Disneyland and to this park and to that park. And do you remember when you was riding the go-karts and it crashed into the barrier, this, that, and the other? And all these places he'd never been to in his life. Yeah. After hypnosis, they had to re-hypnotize him to wipe it out, because his life, he was convinced he'd been to these locations.
Yeah. Police terms, you're leading the witness.
Yeah. So that's why it sort of like makes me curious, like the Betty and Barney Hill case, for instance. They both went under hypnosis. Yes, okay, the situation, her dress was ripped, but that could have been anything that caused that. You know, I do sometimes wonder if these so-called abductions are chemically induced hypnosis rather than hypnosis in the way, whether it's a chemical and it's a government of some form or other. What year? I can't think what year Betty and Barney Hill's abduction was. Was it 54?
57, I think. Rings a bell for some reason.
It's either 50, sometime
61.
61.
That was it.
Yeah.
I thought it was earlier than that. But you think back then, interracial marriages weren't very common.
No.
Right.
It was almost not known at all.
Yeah.
Could they have gone, it's a black man and a white woman. What happens if they have children? We need to check this out. And I was put into a chemically induced hypnosis, made to believe something was happened, and I was actually just being checked by a governmental agency to see if, like, them interbreeding would cause a superhuman to appear or something.
Yeah.
But one case I was going to bring up just before we go was the Washington one. The UFOs over Washington. Over
DC or state?
The DC, over the White House, I believe they were. They were seen over a period of a couple of weekends on a regular basis.
Is this the one where it was supposed to have crashed?
No, hang on.
In the 50s.
Hold on. I don't know if my laptop's going to work. Hold on. Because at this precise moment, the laptop's working okay. So
1952.
That's the one.
Yeah, that's the 1952. I thought that was the one where it allegedly crashed.
Just 1 second. I've got the Wikipedia up on it real quick, but it's July 12th to 29th, 1952. A series of UFOs were reported over Washington, D.C., and later became known as the Washington Flap.
That's the one. Yeah. I think that's
Project Blue Book took over, et cetera, et cetera.
There we go.
615 UFO reports during the episode or incident. 717 new reports.
Do you know if it was ever explained?
Let me look. Aftermath. U.S. or Air Force explanation. There was a press conference on July 29th, 1952, the last day of the incidents. He noted that out of hundreds of UFO reports in recent years investigated by the Air Force, there was a certain percentage of this volume of reports that have been made by credible observers of relatively incredible things, they said. But none of them posed a national security threat. Hundreds of contacts where Air Force fighter interceptions had taken place, but all were fruitless. So basically, they're going in and saying that it really never happened, nothing really happened, and etc. As per usual.
Yeah, I mentioned it to you in chats before, but while Joe was saying that, literally out the corner of my eye, I've just seen somebody stand there. Literally as Joe was talking then. at the same door.
Yeah, where you had the
ball
fob.
came.
Yeah.
I did do a EVP session the following day, but I've got nothing. So that was interesting.
Might be worth doing one after this.
Yeah, I think I might do. 'Cause last time I think I left it too long. But yeah, no, reincarnation. We'll go into that. We'll go into the reincarnation one because it's only laziness that I've not really ever researched it properly. I know.
You're too busy doing other things.
Yeah, because I'm more into like seeing spirits and trying to communicate with spirits or like cryptids and things. I'm not. See, the trouble is when a lot of the time you might have noticed it yourself. When you mention the word paranormal, people automatically say ghosts.
Right.
Yeah.
And the paranormal just covers such a vast field. It's unbelievable. Like there was one I saw. There's a video. I started watching it earlier, but to be honest, the woman's voice was really grating on me, and she was starting to give me a headache. Her voice, but supposedly she's a Harvard professor, and she reckons the UFOs we see nowadays are actually from biblical times. It's people from biblical times coming to us now.
On the spaceships that they had in biblical times.
Yeah.
Used to fly between.
They used to land on top of the pyramids, which were the
built
docking stations.
And she's got tenure for it as well. You know, before tenure, you stay stum. You get tenure, you can say whatever the hell you like.
Yeah.
Look at Harvey Loeb, for instance. You know, when Oumuamua came through the solar system, yes, it acted weird, but no, it's a spaceship.
Yeah.
Straight away. But no, guys, it's been fun as always. So, and I know me and Joe complained and moaned at you, but we did what you wanted to do, and we done UFOs, Ian.
We got it out the way.
Yeah,
and as Joe said, you're the one with all the knowledge.
I barely know how to put a kettle on. I don't know nothing.
It's all subliminal. That's what it was.
We love it. We love it. Like, Ian loves it that much. He's taken us over 2 hours again.
Unbelievable.
No, guys,
how much of it was actually UFOs?
Well, no, actually, no.
Blurry lights in the sky.
I can't believe how long it took me to see your name tag there, though, Ian. But dude, that is a classic. I'm sorry, but that's absolutely brilliant. So, but yeah, guys, it's been absolutely fantastic. Hopefully, we can go out. Let's have a look. Quick nose. I think we've done quite well on cryptids. Where are we? Cryptids went to. Oh, hang on, wrong bit. Cryptids finished on 71 views. So I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Whatever this one will do, because I think we've said a few controversial things here.
I was going to say, let's see how many Men in Black turn up.
I've not had a knock yet. So I'll put the kettle on ready just in case.
That's what that sighting was.
Oh, that's what that was then. Yeah,
that's what that was. They're waiting for you.
Oh,
they're waiting for you to finish. They don't want evidence.
In there. That's where I keep my cat litter tray. Right, I better go and feed them and feed myself. So I'm starving. But no, it's been fantastic as always, guys. And as I've said to you before, these chats, not only are they great fun, they really help me with my inner demons. So, and no, we're not doing demons. Don't think it, Joe. I saw the cogs ticking then, Joe.
Nope.
Especially not on the ones.
So yeah, no, I reckon
back to alien probing.
Yeah, I know. You can either pay good money for a probing or wait for a UFO to pick you up.
It's probably cheaper with the UFOs, though.
Oh yeah.
We won't go there, Joe. I'm not travelling to France to find out. Right, so we'll do reincarnation next, and then I reckon a week after, I think we're going to have to give credit to the people that we'll use them from, but I think we'll do YouTube and TikTok videos of supposed ghosts.
Sure.
Yeah.
See if we think that any of them potentially have something, and not maybe if we think it's fake, like Smug Puppy. Maybe explain how we think it's potentially done.
Yeah.
So
Like
I think that'd be a good
one. I mean, you think of again, going back, talking about technology, you think of the first photo you showed.
Mm.
The technology the technology in those days. When people say, "Oh, it's CGI, it's this, that, and the other," didn't exist in them days.
Yeah. God, you wear a tongue cat. He's missed his brother, bless him. Even though they've been fighting, really ripping the hell out of each other, but they're starting to settle down now. But yeah, no, you're perfect. You're completely right about that. Hello, yes. You want the attention. He wants the attention. He wants to get on camera as well. Get me a few more likes for us.
They're men in black, but cats in black.
Yeah. All he needs is a pair of shades and a fedora, doesn't he? I'll feed you in a minute. Right, guys, that's brilliant. We'll do. We'll definitely do that. I think I've shown you some of the Smug Puppy videos, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'll be good.
We'll say there's been a lot of people that have said, I'm a paranormal investigator. I've been doing it X, Y, Z amount of years.
I'm an expert.
I've even said it to them. Not that they're expert, but we'll come in and we'll try and find out what it is for you. We'll help you get rid of the house or whatever's there. They get blocked.
Yeah.
I've personally have been blocked by them. Oh, and there's also, you probably know him, Huff Paranormal.
Okay.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you get £1,700 for a £39 recorder that's only had one wire cut, that's not bad going.
Yeah.
But we're not going there. Oh, sorry, I said I was going to be good, didn't I?
And we didn't even have to poke him, Joe.
Right, gents, enjoy your evening.
And you?
I'm going to go stuff my face and feed the animals.
I'm going to be calling it quits soon.
Yeah. Well,
some of us have to get up for work in the morning, unfortunately.
Yeah, I was up at 4:30 yesterday morning, and I've not really caught up on sleep properly yet. So, right, gents, I shall speak to you shortly.
Yeah.
Take care.
See you, lad.
See ya.